And people, it has been a day. Wow. The way the light is hitting that mountain behind me, that's crazy. Wow. Okay, anyway, back on track. It has been a day. I want to let you all know that I am functioning on, I think, less than 3 hours of sleep in the last 48 hours. So, shot. I'm going to do my best to do this. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to go live, but essentially, I'm making a video about it. Now, I don't know when the video is going to come out because I'm under restrictions with the company that I worked with, but essentially, I was a paid actor for a company doing a thing in order to help them make a commercial. That's basically the long and short of what I can give you. But because of that, in the US, there's these laws and regulations for like actors. They don't really have those here, so yesterday was like a 20-hour day, and then obviously I didn't get to sleep as soon as I got back. Like, that included travel, a 20-hour day. And obviously I didn't get to sleep as soon as I got back. I got up at like 3 in the morning. I had to walk 30 minutes to the closest bus where I could catch a bus to where I needed to be, caught the bus. Then I, got on the bus, went over and did the thing, finally came back and did it again because I got back so late. Got up at 3 in the morning, did it again. Anyway, whole crazy thing. But, yeah, so I'm a little zonked. If you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. But, yeah, I also know that this isn't my... Hey, how's it going, Bill? Thanks for joining. I know this isn't my normal time, but essentially I rushed back here as quickly as I could from across the entire Sacred Valley, and I got here when I could. But the acting was fun. I will have a video coming out about that soon, like I said, but I'm just waiting on verification from the company that the commercial has gone far enough along for me to post it, because they don't want any conflict or something. I don't know. But pretty cool. I basically was on some trains and stuff. That's as much as I'll go into that. So, but yeah, running off 3 hours of sleep. So I think I'm doing pretty good. Literally after this live is done, I'm going to sleep. I'm sleeping until I wake up. So I'll probably eat first, but then yeah, I'll sleep until I wake up. But I would love to answer any of your questions. I really try to normally make these 30 minutes, but I'm probably going to go for 15 today so I can get an extra 15, so I can get to sleep 15 minutes sooner. But yeah, it's been a bit cold, so we've been buying firewood in order to... Have I gotten the visa stuff worked out? That's a great question. So I'm still waiting on the visa application. Essentially, Orko. Essentially what had happened with the visa situation is my current tourism visa expires... Oh man, next month of the month, or the early month after. Next month or early the month after. So essentially what that means for me is when you apply for your visa here, like a work visa in Peru, during the process you are given immunity to any deportation or anything while they figure everything out. Now, I'm like 99% sure my visa is going to go through. However, what that means and why I'm doing it this way is basically if anything goes wrong, it gives me a little bit of a wiggle room period. So I'm purposefully slowing things down in order to give myself that opportunity. So if anything goes wrong, that I have some wiggle room to figure out if I'm going to apply for a nomad visa or try to reapply for the workers visa, or if I'm going to leave and come back in and try to reapply. So that's more or less how that's going. It's worked out. Everything's in its place. Basically, the email is typed up. Just the button needs to be clicked by the lawyer, and we're waiting for the perfect time for that, which is the day before my tourism visa expires. So, yeah, that's what's going on with that. Great question. It's not too bad. Once you get everything rolling and everything compiled, getting the stuff is the hard part. After that, you're just chilling and waiting for the right time. You know, the whole bureaucracy of government stuff. Just, there's a perfect order and a specific time that you're supposed to submit and everything, and you just kind of have to deal with it and wait along. So I'm using it to my advantage and hoping for slow bureaucracy and for them to give me my visa correctly. So, great question. Great question. I was at Machu Picchu today, although I didn't actually go up and walk up and see it. The train commercial stuff that I was doing ended up bringing me over there. Do very many people in the valley tell greetings, Mexico, greetings from Peru. Happy to have you. Thanks for stopping in, Alex. Really appreciate it. As far as Bill, do many people in the valley speak English? Honestly, yes. And, you know, it's kind of surprising because I've been to some larger cities like Bogota. Certain areas spoke English really well. Other areas, they didn't really speak English at all, or they did and they just didn't choose to use it. But here, for them, tourism from Western countries is like their major tourism. And even people who are coming from like Germany or the Netherlands or even like Turkey, all of them speak English as well because it's just kind of like a universal language over there. And sorry, a little loud for a second. Hi NFS Vortex, thanks for joining. So as far as the English goes, a lot of those people come over and bring English as well. So for them, English equals dollar bills. So most of them who are in tourism speak English, and a lot of people just outside of tourism, also who are auxiliary to tourism, also speak English. You know, like maybe the gas pump guy probably speaks English. A lot of the restaurants understand, or if they don't speak English, they have things set up for you as a foreigner, assuming that you don't speak Spanish, because so many people come here that don't. So there's like, I think in my last video, or maybe the one before that, I went on a hike and I showed the perfect like place to eat in Pisac. It has all the photos and it's really easy to pick what you want to eat. It's like photos that you just point to and it's got the dollar or the soles amount underneath. So yeah, there's plenty of English and plenty of ways to get around without knowing Spanish. I will teach you a Mexican word. I dare you to say, have you tried the sweets here? Hola, México. Y una pregunta. Yo hablo un poquito español. Yo he estudiado en España, entonces, sí, yo practico mucho aquí en Peru. Hello, Iran. Thank you for joining. Actually, I have a couple friends from Iran, so I guess not that applies, but hello anyway. Thank you for joining. Have you tried... That is outside my wheelhouse. Arabic is... I think that's Arabic. Arabic is outside of my wheelhouse. I dare you to... have you tried sweets here? If you mean here as in Peru, yes, I have. A lot of the sweets here are trying to emulate U.S. sweets. So, you know, you've got like chocolate cake, stuff like that. It's not as good as how it is in the U.S. Love you too, Rashid. Yeah, it's definitely not as good as it is in the U.S., but they have some fantastic sweets here. And their approach here is much less sugar. So they try to bring out the natural flavoring. Like they love their maracuya here, maracuya. So they'll drop. It's kind of adjacent to passion fruit, but it's not the same thing. It's just like, no, maracuya is passion fruit. They have granadillas, which are adjacent to passion fruit. Those are also on sweets. So good stuff. I have had a lot of sweets here. No me espera más. See. But yeah, so I'm just chilling out here on 3 hours of sleep. I'm literally getting to sleep after this. But I'd love to field any questions you have about Peru. Most people ask me about the visa situation, but I've traveled a lot. I've been deep in the Amazon jungle, walking around in piranha-infested water, to obviously in a very safe and comfortable Sacred Valley where the worst thing I need to worry about is a scorpion in my shoe at night if I have to go out and get firewood to keep the wood stove going. So very, very much privileged here as compared to in the Amazon jungle. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. Actually, I could show you. There's right up there, this thing. It probably isn't even coming through on the camera, but I don't know if you could see there's like some lines right here. Basically, those are ruins. In my research, I found gas to be $5 a gallon. It's about 1450 soles per gallon. It's around a 375 conversion. Yeah, that's about right. Maybe a little less. But yeah, it's about $5 a gallon, and it depends on where you go, Bill. If you are in the Sacred Valley, obviously they have to ship it down in here, so it costs a little bit more. Up in Cusco, it costs a little less, but yeah, pretty generally 5+ a gallon is very average. So I don't actually drive a car here. I really have no need. Most of my traveling, I walk to the closest bus and then take the bus wherever I need to go. Not only do I have to not worry about maintaining a car, it ends up being cheaper for me personally as a solo traveler, or I guess I live here as a solo liver or as a duo because I do have my partner here. Uh, we get in a moto, just driving by right now. From here, if I get lucky and encounter a moto on the way down to the closest bus stop, cost me around 2 to 4 soles depending on the time of day. Midday, 2. Late at night, 4. So super easy, super cheap. I mean, I guess gas would probably be less expensive in the long run, but I'm not paying for insurance. I'm not changing the oil. I'm not checking the tires, all that stuff. There's actually ruins in almost all of the mountains here. Even in the background, which you can't see, there are more ruins in these mountains. There's no way it's coming through on that background, because in the background on this, because I can barely see it. But basically what those ruins are, there's tons that I can see from my house, but yeah, the whole thing. They're like these stacks. They look like stairs. And basically what they did with them is some very either lucky or probably intelligent or both Incan people, which is the one of the originals. They kind of came in and stole it from the indigenous. So technically Incas were in colonizers, which got recolonized by Spain. I'm butchering the history. If you really are interested in it, I can make a video about it and do my research. But essentially that's what happened. But the Incas figured out that here in the valley, it has the perfect, yes, you can go there and explore them. Many of them are foot trafficked. Many of them you can climb up to. Some of them you just have to know the special way to get up there. But you can get there to almost all of them. Honestly, what they use them for, and this will kind of explain more about them, is basically they figured out that the Sacred Valley was the perfect place to grow food. So for some reason, here specifically, when you drop the altitude a little bit lower on each level, it allows you to adjust the temperature all day long. So the bottom level, I think they said if you make it 50 meters in height, the bottom level is like 5 to 10 Celsius hotter than it is at the very top or maybe it's the opposite. It's hotter at the top and cooler at the bottom. But essentially, I think it's the bottom is hotter. But essentially, they were able to grow food that they could only get from the jungle here in a environment much closer to a desert. They could provide the water, they could provide the heat that it needed to grow, and so a lot of them are very easy to access because the local people would walk up to these ruins every single day, do their farming, their picking, and bring the produce back down to sell. So basically it's set up in perfect positions for you to get to if you wanted to get to them. If you drive through the entire Sacred Valley, you'll probably see hundreds of them. Some of them are specifically well known, like not Morai. I think it is Morai. Basically Morai is the same thing, but it's in a circle, and it kind of looks crop circle-y when you see it from the top. It's kind of cool. They also have the Sal de Maras, which is they found out that inside the water that comes out of a specific part of one of these mountains is very high in salt content. So they created these really flat fields of like water basins where the water comes out of the river and it spills into these little flats, and it produces like a pink Himalayan style salt. So when you go and see it, it's like a field of pink just across. And there's 3 different salts that come out of it. The deepest salt is super medicinal salt that's not edible. You'll kind of use it to rub on your body. You can use it for like stuff like that, like bathing, body scrubbing, stuff like that, medicinal in that way. The second level, like in between the bottom and the top, is it's also a medicinal salt, but it's edible. So you can put it in your tea or water, mix it up and drink it. It's good for parasites and honestly a whole multitude of other things. The best comparison for the bottom layer, the thick medicinal layer that you can't eat, it's like Epsom salt. Then it's like medicinal salt, like Celtic salt, if you're familiar with that. And then the top layer is like fine salt, which a lot of the local people Actually, they don't use it so much anymore because it's expensive, because people that come here would prefer that to like the normal sal de mar, which is just sea salt that they ship in from, honestly, God knows where. But yeah, so that's pretty cool too. If you're gonna come here to see some sightseeing, the sal de mar is definitely worthwhile. And if you get the right tour, you can take four-wheelers or quads, or I don't know what else people might call them, through it. So you can run these quads, not in the salt, but like next to the salt, and like watches the pink fields kind of fly by, which is really cool too. There's tons to explore. There's limitless hikes in and out of the valley. There's the ruins. There's the Sal de Maris. There's more ruins like Machu Picchu, which aren't so much agriculture, and they're literal houses that used to be there. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So, yeah, great question, Bill. I would love to field a few more questions before I try to add to the 3 hours of sleep I've gotten. So if you have any more, let me know. Otherwise, I'll close this up, and I'll come in a little bit harder next Wednesday because I'm not filming anything. But as far as the filming goes, I'm really happy I got the opportunity, because honestly, I love doing this YouTube thing, and it'll grow with time. I'm not particularly worried about that, but I'm trying to get as much screen time in as I can, not only on this, but other places, just so I can get better, more charismatic, more comfortable in front of the camera, bring more value. So it was a lot of fun. I'm excited to make that video whenever it's ready and approved by the company. Yeah. Is it overgrown? Honestly, no. There's enough to go around for everybody. I think you could probably even add another four-wheeler into like business here and still be profitable. The issue is you're competing with Peruvian prices. You're competing with Peruvian prices, so for like a Westerner, if you're trying to make the kind of money you would make in the US for a four-wheeler business, it's just not going to happen. Your best bet is to buy a bunch of four-wheelers, get your name out there with some advertising, and hire locals to run it that are trustworthy. And then not only are you giving money back to the locals and paying them a fair wage, but also you're not spending your time working on getting everything set up and ready. Like, it's just, the hourly's not going to be the same here. Although you still do get to charge US prices. Your best bet, if you want to make like US dollars, is to set up on like a Trova trip. No, that's not the right one. Basically a tourism company, like the one with the gnome, I think, Travelocity. Yeah, that's the one, Travelocity. And a few others. You can list it on there and get US dollars before people even come and realize that it's much less to rent motos. But yeah, it's still profitable, and not overgrown. I would say it's pushing maximum capacity, but there's still room for a couple more businesses if someone wanted to do that. Yes, I would love to be your friend, Alex. Sí. Estamos amigos ahorita. Muchas gracias. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the questions, Bill. Thank you for the comments, Alex. What country is that, bro? Beast Lips. Okay. Beast Lips, I'm going to call you that. This country is Peru, is where I'm at now. There's a very vast kind of changing scenery here, but this particular part is outside of Cusco, called the Sacred Valley. It's a large area, but it all kind of looks very similar. Although not to a local. If you had a local, they could be like, that mountain is this, that mountain is that mountain is that. I've been coming back for 6 years. I couldn't tell you any of these mountains. I only know one singular mountain. Anyway. What would it cost to hire experienced construction labor there hourly? You know, that's something I've been looking into. I haven't gotten a straight answer, partially because whenever someone who's Western walks in and tries to deal with someone who's from here, they try to bump up the price. So what you really want to do is you want to get a contractor from Lima, agree on a price from there, ship them out, and have them do all the talking. You don't talk to the construction people. You can be around, you can be helpful, you can be watchful, but you want someone from Lima to oversee everything because they know the prices. Pretty generally, they're going to be better at bartering. They're not going to get hit over the head from the get-go. but for good experienced labor, don't quote me on this because I need to look more into Lima, but I'm pretty sure it's around 20 to 30 soles an hour, which basically divided by 4, so $5 to $7.5 an hour, essentially. Now the construction materials are a bit more expensive, especially if you want quality materials. But yeah, not too bad. A lot of people come here with the express purpose of buying land, paying unskilled labor to clear it, then paying skilled labor to build on it, and basically flipping the property. Now, there's a lot of houses here that are sitting basically empty because people are wanting way more than anyone's willing to pay here. Because when you get here, you have to realize people's mindsets shift, and they're thinking, that's too expensive for this area. I'm not paying $300,000 for a house. I'm just not doing it. $100,000 is still pushing it. So the profit margins are a little bit slim, but people do it. People do it. So yeah. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys. I'm gonna decompress a little bit, and I'm gonna get some sleep, and I will see you on Friday. Oh, that's a good question. I'll answer real quick. Not necessarily. A lot of things are built from bricks because I can actually tell you the cost of bricks. The cost of like cinder block bricks, I don't have one with me, but like basically this size, which I'd say is like a foot by 6 inches, more or less, más o menos, I almost said. Those cost a sol a piece. So that's 25 cents a piece for a cinder block like that. So a lot of the locals will use bricks because that's the cheapest material. Wood is way more expensive. So what a lot of people will also do is they'll build the actual house itself. Like they'll build this will be brick inside. Then they'll put clay on top to cover it. And they use just whatever dirt's around. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like, actually you can't see it at all, but there's like hay in the wall here. The hay is because they dug up dirt that just had grass and hay in it, and they slapped it on the wall. And they kind of smooth it down over the brick, and then they build like auxiliary things. Is that the right word? Auxiliary? Like this, where they put the wood in inside and around the brick, but it's more like a garnish in cooking terms. It's not like the main thing. So, and then obviously you have the basics like isn't most everything built with bricks? That Adobe, they put hay in that. Yes, I think I understand your question, and yes, they do put hay in it, or at least don't try to get the hay out. And then obviously they do the normal like steel rebar bars while they're building and everything. It's pretty basic, common practice. You can actually walk around in the Sacred Valley here and see a lot of unfinished construction projects because they built the first level of their house and they didn't have enough money to build the next level. So the top floor is just the stairs from the bottom leading out onto what is a roof, more or less. It doesn't rain here enough to where it like pours into their house. They just built a small little like teepee style thing on top just to keep the water from coming in, and then rebarbs hanging out from the top. So unfinished houses is almost more common than finished houses here. It's really rather interesting. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys. I'm gonna get some sleep. Any questions you have, I'd love to answer them on Wednesday next week. I'm starting 30 minutes earlier because that's my normal time. 6. Yeah, no problem. I'm in Peru. Thank you for coming, Brian. Yes, any more questions, save them for Wednesday at 6 p.m. EST. I'd love to see you. Otherwise, I drop videos on Monday and Friday, also at 6 p.m. EST. So can't wait to see you, and I'll see you soon.